Hi, it's Mike Abernathy again. You know, I want to take just a moment before we start. We're going to be talking about change, and in a way, that's the perfect time to mention this. We did these videos, not really knowing if people would look at them, but we've noticed that when we send them out, we can look and tell how many people open them. Can't tell who opened them, but what percentage were opened compared to the emails we sent. And far more of you have opened the videos. Now, that may be just part of the times here that again you're grasping for straws, you're looking for any life vest that somebody would throw you at these times. But this is going to be our last video unless we get some feedback from you that you like this format better than reading some articles that I write. And I realize I'm not a wordsmith, and I kind of write the way I talk, but I try in the articles. I want to help you. I want you to be able to take the information and run with it. And if this is a better format for you, it's not that big of a problem to do this in a video format. At least, we could do it once a month that way and then send you articles or whatever works better for you. So give us some feedback if you don't mind. We're talking about change today. And I think the biggest mistake that anybody listening to this could make is to come out of this unchanged. Okay. In other words, come out and do what you did 60 days ago. I mean, really, my prediction is that if you cling to this traditional model, you're not going to survive this. And if you go back doing exactly what you did in 2019 or prior to March of 2020 and expect to get the same results, it's not going to work. And keep in mind, the results you got in 2019, when we talked about this in the last video, you still didn't make any profit, okay? So I want you to come back stronger, better than you ever were, not just back to a mediocre level, okay? Now, when I think about changes, a lot of our staff are real resistant to change. I know, my kids are, everything. I think that's common. But in a business, as a leader, you've got to guard core and inform them what reality is, but you also have to embrace change. And in the process of embracing change, you've got to adapt to ever-changing environment that you find yourselves in. Truly, this is a life-altering, career-changing time that you need to deal with. So as we start talking about change, we're talking about your practice, we're talking about what you do at home, we're talking about how you're going to affect the staff and stuff like that, but we're also looking at change from the perspective of why you wouldn't make that change. I mean, I think most people, especially now as you've reflected on your practice, hopefully you've diagnosed it, you saw that you did some things well, maybe a few things not so well, maybe some things really not good at all. Maybe you don't have a wide enough range of services. Maybe your consumer hours aren't very good. Maybe you don't need as many staff as you thought you needed. Maybe you pay your hygienist in a way that doesn't make sense. Whatever those changes are, now it's time to be accountable for it and make the change. Now, why would you not change? And so I want to give you an example of your patients and use kind of their perspective of saying yes during case acceptance as a reason why you might not change. Now, we know that patients, there are four things that really affect them being able to say yes, are to change from where they were to where they need to go with a healthy mouth. One is time, money, fear, and trust. Trust may be the most important. Time would be, fitting it into their schedule. I mean, most people have already got things going in their life. Okay, so they've got to fit it in their schedule. Maybe you don't have consumer hours. Maybe you don't have the hours they need to make this happen. Now, the same thing you're thinking too. I'm asking you to make these changes, but you're going, dude, I am juggling 4 or 5 balls in the air, keeping the plate spinning or whatever. I don't have the time to do this right now. Well, again, remind you, this is a once in a lifetime opportunity to get a start over, a do-over, a change of your culture, how you process patients, the hours you choose, the staff you have, how you pay. All of these things need to be changed. They need to be modified slightly. Some not much, some a great deal, okay? Now, you have got to fit this into your time. Everybody prioritizes time. This is the time to put this at the top of your to-do list. Okay? Next one is money. I mean, patients are worried about the treatment they're accepting. Changing from pain to health is pretty easy. They're going to find the money. Changing from what they want to do is they'll pay for that every time. So I've always tried to help you understand that this is something you should want to do. But again, it may be painful for you. You may be in financial captivity. You may have so much debt in your practice that you can't do some of these things. You've got to make the changes that turn this around. Fear. I mean, I think everybody, it's almost like we'd rather take a mediocre situation or a bad situation, take what we know, than the unknown of changing and not really understanding what that might look like in the future. Okay? Well, I'm telling you, the things we ask you to do are going to make the future look better. It'll give you more options. Fear is something that might be holding you back. Trust. Sometimes when a patient's sitting in front of you, they've formatted, they thought about, they walk in, they've met the receptionist, things went well, they've got this phantom list of things they need, you don't know what it is, they're either checking the box for them or you're not. They meet the hygienist, they meet you, they go up to the financial secretary, they're going to make the appointment or they're not. And at some point you kind of realize that you missed the mark. Okay, now you need to be real careful at who you listen to and who you follow. When I did triathlons, I was a terrible triathlete. Okay, I mean, I can run maybe a 7.5 minute mile for 6 miles, but it's not very fast. I can ride a bicycle, but if it's 30 miles, I might average, 18 miles per hour. Not very fast. But I'm a pretty good swimmer, and I cheat in the swim. And so it's the only part of triathlon where you can draft. Now you see the guys in the Tour de France, they have a peloton where all the bikes are huddled up and they're going, and there's a leader pedaling real fast. A single person can't win the Tour de France. They need a team. And the reason they need a team is the person at the front of that peloton is breaking the wind and doing 20% more work than anybody behind them. So when I'm swimming in a lake swim in a triathlon, I'm going to line up behind a 6'7" college swimmer, professional swimmer, wearing a Speedo. I mean, he can spin his arms around. I mean, he's got web feet. And if I go in right behind him, not only when he runs in, it's making the water level lower so I can run out further before I dive in. But when I dive in, I can see his heels. That's all I can see. And I can keep up with him because he's doing almost 40% of the work. And the water right behind his heels is following him. It's pulling me along. I'll come out number 2 or 3 in the swim. Now, I still always lose. I don't do real well in them. But I'm going to take everything I can get on my side. I'm going to cheat a little bit. And so if you find the right mentor, you find the right coach, it makes an incredible difference in the results and where you finish in this whole thing here. Now, why, what are the obstacles to your change? Okay, we kind of mentioned the things with patients. I want to add one or two things else here, just a couple of things, okay? When they say, how do you eat an elephant? Well, one bite at a time. I mean, you have got to start somewhere. I mean, certainly I could organize a list for you and show the top things to do, but you just got to start. You've got to create enough momentum that you can continue. And procrastination is one of those things that you need to scratch off your list. Again, when I say procrastination, we've got to go to not a ready, aim kind of thing. We need to go to a ready, fire, aim. Kind of like if you're out on the farm with me and there's this big wooden barn and I put a target up on the barn and I take my bow and I pull back and I fire and I hit the bullseye and I ask you, have you ever shot a bow? And you're going, yeah, when I was a little kid, but no, not really. And I said, okay, stand up here. I'm going to put the arrow in it for you. You just pull it back, aim it at the target and hit. Now, You may not even hit the target, but I'll guarantee you that you're going to hit the side of a barn. And if I keep handing you errors and you keep shooting, you're going to keep correcting and you're going to get closer to that target. You're going to miss every shot you don't take. We've got to do away with procrastination. Now, we mentioned money up there. We've mentioned fear, financial captivity. I think one of the biggest things is habit. And Max and I were talking about this, and Max kind of came up with this list, and we were talking about it, and he mentioned habit. And I hadn't thought about that, of things or obstacles that might prevent you from doing a change. But it's almost like if you're a couch potato and the doctor says you have heart disease, you've got to exercise, maybe there's enough pain in that to get you to move. I'm just thinking at this point, at this time, where you've seen this pandemic, you've seen how totally unprepared you were for it. Financially, mentally, you look back and you go, wow, my practice wasn't as good as I thought. We've gotten into a habit. Everybody gets comfortable. You look at the book, Good to Great. The reason good companies don't become great companies is they get comfortable. It's a habit. And a habit is just a grave with the ends kicked out. It's a big rut, okay? So you're fighting against habit. You're fighting against fear. You're fighting against money, trust, time, all of those things to make this happen. This will be the easiest time that you ever look at to make these changes. If you're thinking when the PPP runs out in 8 weeks, that's when I'll make the change, you're lying to yourself. If you're thinking, I'll do it after the end of this year, 2021 will be better. COVID's still going to be around. Financial recession's still going to be here. This is not coming back to normal for 18 months to 2 years, okay? 75% of the population will have to get the disease without a vaccine or cure before it's not dangerous. You've got to act now. You've got to make the changes, and I want to help you. Max and I both want to help you. If there's something we can do to help, call us. If there's something you want to hear about, let us know. If you like this format better than articles, let us know. And please act. Don't come out of this unchanged. Thanks.